Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to today's live stream. I'm going to be taking you through some charts of interest, including the likes of gold. Good afternoon, Rago. Hope you're well. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes as usual. See if anybody else wants to join live, and then I'll get going. Let's actually just flick through some news before we get going, then just to give people a chance to jump in if they want to jump in. So obviously we have had some unemployment claims data this afternoon. We've actually coming in a lot lower than expected, 198k. Forecast was 210k, previous 211k, and we've actually seen the dollar actually weaken a little bit off the back of that data. If we just go to the hourly chart, you can see here it includes this sort of candle here. Let's actually go to the 30-minute chart. You can see that bearish sort of candlestick that formed from the back of that. So interestingly enough, seeing a little bit of downside in the US dollar, despite that sort of what I would say is a little bit of a positive data drop. Dollar's in a really weird place at the moment, isn't it? It's kind of range bound. It's range between sort of 106 this week and 106.50. If we just go to the weekly chart, you can see how this week is playing out. It hasn't really gone anywhere this week so far, and that may be because we've got some data coming up. If I just flip back to the data, you can see we've got Federal Reserve Chairman Powell speaking in a few hours, in about 2.5 hours. So maybe the market is trying to anticipate some moves coming into that event today. Hi, Ruston. Hope you're well. So yes, we've got some interesting little bits of data. Don't forget, guys, while you're here, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And yeah, let me just change the sort of mode here so you can see the screen a little bit more. I actually got into a position yesterday, which was a Kiwi Swiss short. Really liked the opportunity here, targeting the 5,200 lows. And basically what I was looking at was the fact that the New Zealand dollar was weakening, and I wanted to try and trade against something that was gaining a little bit of strength. If I actually bring on the currency strength meter that I usually highlight in the week ahead analysis, so we'll just highlight this a little bit and zoom in. Actually, let's just full screen it. We'll just zoom in a little bit. There we go. Lightly. The New Zealand dollar, why was I targeting that? Well, you can see we talked about this on Tuesday, but the New Zealand dollar is this sort of yellow or dark sort of gold color, and you can see that we came up into this area here, which is sort of what I like to call the reversal zone on my currency strength meter. You've also then got the sort of reversal zone down here. So if it's in the reversal zone at the highs, that means that it's a really strong currency, but we may see price reverse that strength. It may be coming to an end, basically. If it's down here, it means that it's a support. So it means that it's really weak at the time, and that we could start to see some strength develop from that currency. So you can see the Swiss franc is here. It's in the purple there. And you can see Swiss franc actually came into the +5s a couple of weeks ago, and then -5s, and started to sort of make its way higher. You've then got the New Zealand dollar, which is making its way to the downside. So from last week and the week before, pretty much I was looking for basically Kiwi Swiss to trade lower. Okay, I found my opportunity yesterday. Ended up taking a short position on that. But basically all I did was look at the currency strength meter, identified what currency was in that reversal zone and what was in the other reversal zone, what currencies are sort of converging towards each other. So yeah, basically Kiwi Swiss was one of those. Another one as well was pound Kiwi. So I actually featured pound Kiwi in the week ahead analysis video. So I haven't actually found an opportunity on pound Kiwi, but we'll go take a little look at that one as well. So those were sort of the two currency pairs which I felt this week really had a good opportunity for some swing trading. Hi Justin, I'm good, thank you. Hope you're well. So let's just take off the currency strength meter here. Let's have a little look at Kiwi Swiss. So like I said, a couple of weeks ago, we had the sort of alert to say, yeah, we should be looking to get short this particular market. If you went onto this market as well, you could see that we are in a downward trend on this weekly chart. We just come back into this level here, or this kind of consolidation here, where you can see price ranged and we broke out, and price just came and revisited that area. So I was expecting a move to the downside. Now, if we go and take a little look and dive into it on a lower time frame, on the daily chart, I missed my initial entry. So this would have been a really nice entry candle here. You've got this sort of lower high that's been formed. You've got the low ranging candlesticks on the daily chart. So really speaking, that could have been a really good entry point. I could have ended up with a bit of a tighter stop loss, and I could have been sort of 4 or 5, R up potentially. So I was a little bit gutted there. So I kind of missed that one. If we go take a look at the 4-hour time frame as well, what I would have, typically looked for was price to come back into sort of a key level. So you can see here we had that sort of lower high, price traded lower. It came back to that area and then broke to the downside as well. So there's a couple of areas where I probably could have got short very, a lot sooner than I did. But I ended up not being able to kind of get that position. Not necessarily because I wasn't looking, it's because I had some capital tied up in something else. So there wasn't any sort of room for me to kind of get in here, unfortunately. Should I have maybe cancelled that trade and tried to look at this one potentially? But you never know what's going to happen anyway. We don't have a crystal ball. So I ended up managing to get a position in and around this area here, which was actually formed off the daily chart, because I was, again, just kind of trying to find a decent entry and couldn't really find one on my lower time frame. So basically we had this sort of short-term consolidation. We had a bearish candlestick close on Tuesday. I ended up just taking a sell stop below, looking to see if price will continue to the downside here. So that's what I'm currently working on at the moment. This red line here is just a bit of trade management. I'm actually going to see how price closes this evening. If it can continue to close as a bearish candlestick, I'm going to move my stop loss above that daily candle high. Or what I want to avoid is price trying to come back now and give too much of the profit back, essentially. But that's what I'm kind of working with there. Royston question, interested in New Zealand Swiss short. It looks like it to be at a yearly level low. Yeah, so if we actually just go up to that weekly, it's coming into this sort of current year's lows, which is around about this 5,200 level. So, and it could go a little bit further. The reason why I quite like Kiwi downside, not just from a strength meter perspective, but if we go take a look at Kiwi dollar, you can see that we've just broken down through this range as well. Now, that's going to, obviously bring a lot of attention to New Zealand dollar, and we may see, a little bit of a move back into the range and price climb back to the upside. But if we don't, and we get this kind of clear weekly close below, then it could come down to the next level of support, which I've got marked in as 57.75. So that's why I'm kind of still, on the side of we're going to get a little bit of Kiwi weakness. And you can see down in here, we've got that sort of supporting level back in November of 2022. So that's what I want to kind of try and target on Kiwi dollar. So yeah, like that one. Let's go take a quick look at pound Kiwi. Oh, it has taken off. So we did do this this week. We were looking at the potential for pound Kiwi to rally because of the strength meter. I just haven't happened to find a move into this. Looks like I've missed a little bit of a move. I like to see when we've got such a strong sort of weekly close. I'm very much a follower of the weekly chart, and if I'm expecting price to move higher, perhaps back into these swing highs, what I like to do is then look at the 4-hour and try and see if we can spot some kind of low being formed, or even the daily chart. Now, obviously, the daily chart, we had this little bit of a pullback here on Monday. So really, a nice sort of wick to the upside. That could have been an entry into the market. Really speaking, though, there was a nice little consolidation build up here on the 4-hour time frame on Wednesday. So really speaking, that consolidation there, maybe the breakout of that, maybe this candlestick here, could have been my sort of reason to get involved with the market. I could have kept the stop below the low and try and target it up at that 2.09 level. But yeah, like I said, haven't got into that move yet. There's still time, obviously. I like to look at the sort of where the weekly could potentially end up. Can I get maybe a bit of a pullback into that market? Daily chart is very bullish at the moment. So maybe a move sort of back into that bearish candlestick where obviously price has found some support. Maybe if we can get sort of like a couple of days of pullback into that level, we might be able to see something from there. Alternatively as well, we do have my sort of favorite pattern developed down there. So again, kind of, sold myself short a little bit here because we've got my double bottom pattern, which I love to see in the market. We've traded through the neckline. We've had the early retest of the neckline. Maybe we'll get another one, and then price may want to continue. So pound Kiwi, I just need to keep on the radar, really. I probably should set some alerts here because I kind of missed a couple of moves, that are pointed out from the strength meter. So, yeah, pound Kiwi definitely being one of those. If I just bring that strength meter back in, obviously pound and Swissy doing pretty well. Dollar was a currency that was starting to show a little bit of weakness. I just wasn't super confident in that weakness because of the sort of fundamentals around the US dollar at the moment. So yeah, wasn't too sort of into that. The Australian dollar starting to weaken a little bit. So pound Oz long could have been something we looked at going into this week as well. The only thing I don't like about pound Oz long is that we're kind of trading within this sort of consolidation. We had a bit of a breach of it as well. It's just not as clean as pound Kiwi, especially if we go up to that sort of weekly chart. We've tried to breach these lows here. We failed. We're starting to sort of climb back to the upside. So yeah, just not as clean as pound Kiwi is at the moment in time. So pound Kiwi is more of the sort of better one, I would say, for an option to look for that upside there. But looking at it from a lower time frame, you can see that we've obviously traded higher, consolidated. Price is now kind of retesting that consolidation. So maybe if you're an intraday trader, you could look for another move back into this level before looking for that key move to the upside. Now, I think we've got pound data tomorrow, retail sales data, expected to come in quite low actually compared to previous forecast. Minus spot 3% over a 0.4%. So maybe we'll actually see a little bit of pound weakness off the back of that data. So yeah, that's definitely something to just keep your eyes on as we go into the end of the week. So let's just go back up to the US dollar then, because obviously the dollar's the talking point at the moment. We've tried to trade above 106.50. We've sort of failed to do that. We're starting to come back a little bit. The low that we're kind of working with at the moment is the 106 level, really speaking. 106, maybe 106.05. And we're just kind of, struggling to kind of make any ground here. So I think maybe what if we get some kind of hawkish tone from the Fed? Could that influence a little bit of a move down before some buying again? Or, are we going to take these highs and move higher? I was still expecting a move up to the 108, but we just haven't seen that momentum yet, unfortunately. So yeah, let me know, guys, as well. What are you guys up to? What are you trading at the minute? Is there any kind of charts of interest that you're looking at? Let me know. I'm just gonna have a sip of tea. Happy to answer sort of your questions with the analysis and whatnot. Let's go flick over to dollar yen. I did a video on dollar yen yesterday. We're so close to 150 again. So close. this market is really kind of sort of tiptoeing its way up to 150. Maybe, again, that sort of Fed news later could drive price back into that area. I'm going to be very interested to see what happens to price if it does break above 150. I think if we see price starting to break 150, we'll see a lot of people trying to sell back down at 150 for if they can try and capture a move like that again. That's a very high probability, not high probability, I would say, but high volatility move. And we may get some kind of spike off the back of it. We may see price break through. There's a real good chance that we trade through 150 and start heading towards the 152. A real good chance. So you've got to be a little bit careful with anything dollar yen at the moment. Right, guy, dollar CAD to the upside, Aussie CAD to the downside. Let's have a quick look at dollar CAD. We've sort of breached that 137 level now, haven't we? CAD was showing up as a little bit strong. I was expecting the strength because we've seen oil prices rally a little bit. Still seeing oil fairly strong, although we did see some data yesterday talking about a lot of was it Iran? I think it might have been Iran came out and asked the sort of Middle East countries to sort of slow down production. So there's a lot going on with oil at the moment fundamentally, but we're just kind of capped between that sort of $90 level at the minute. Nothing's really kind of budging to the upside. I thought maybe this sort of double, we could say that's a double bottom there, and that rally could have helped a little bit of CAD strength, but hasn't really. And if we have a little look at dollar CAD, we've breached the 137 highs now. So it does look like we're going to trade a little bit higher here. Let's have a little look at the weekly chart. Yeah, we've kind of breached this long-term trend line that I've got in as well. I kind of connected the highs here between the high on the 10th of October and the high on the 6th of March, just to kind of expand that trend line down. We were respecting it at first. We haven't continued that price. Instead of this week, looks like it's breaking out again, kind of showing us how, strong the dollar is at the moment against CAD. Be interesting to see if that can continue and we push up to the 138.50, which were the highs here back on the 6th of March. So I'll be very interested to see a move like that, because I think this would be quite a good area to look for sells as well as here. Obviously we've been way above that before, so the 143s. So a good couple of levels coming up for dollar CAD. Could you be long here is the question. I'd like to see how it reacted to 137. If you get price back in here and we start to see some sort of buying coming back in, then, we could see a move up to these sort of recent swing highs before seeing a continuation towards the 138.50. Aussie CAD. I think for me at the moment, because you've got Aussie weak, CAD weak, you may not get the sort of downward move here. Plus, I suppose if you're looking at sort of your dollar CAD to the upside, kind of why are you looking to short Aussie CAD? Is that more of a bit of a hedge just in case, or is it a bit of like you've seen some technicals where you can say that because, you have. So I always look at when it comes to cross pairs, and I'll talk about this quite often. So if I've mentioned this before and you think he's repeating himself again, you're trading dollar CAD versus Aussie US dollar. So really speaking, you want dollar CAD to be moving down and you want Aussie US dollar to move down, right? But you haven't got that at the moment. You've got dollar CAD moving up, Aussie US dollar moving down. So to me, that would equal a range at this moment in time. So I like your dollar CAD, I must admit. Aussie CAD, not so sure. I mean, from a technical perspective, you could make the argument that you've got weekly head and shoulders, neckline. I'm going to short that market because of the technicals. But the underlying strength there may not be there just yet. But what you can do is watch your lower time frame. If you see any kind of changes there, double top, breakdown, then you could be, you know, the conditions may have changed at that point, and then you can look for the potential setup. But I can see why you're looking at that, you know, clear head and shoulders pattern. Good afternoon, Vincent. I'm doing really well, thank you. Hope you are too. Royston, pound CAD. CAD strength looks short. CAD strength looks short. What are your thoughts? Yeah, pound CAD actually makes a lot of sense, Royston. You've got pound strengthening, CAD weakening. Looks like we've seen a lot of strength this afternoon in pound CAD. Let's have a quick look. We've got these highs that price may be heading towards. Let's have a look at the weekly chart here. That monthly chart really threw me off then. I just saw such a large bearish candlestick. Surely that's going to continue, but obviously it may not. The daily candlesticks there aren't really that great. Like I said, I thought CAD was a little bit stronger at the moment. Let me flick over to the strength meter. CAD is green. See, CAD is, I've got CAD as a little bit stronger at the moment. So yeah, and I thought that strength would come through with the sort of uptick in oil, but we haven't seen that. But also on the daily chart, if I was going to be like really wanting to get into something to buy it, that's not really giving me, you know, I mean, if I had this, for instance, you know, big bullish candlesticks followed by little ones, you know, that to me is momentum to the upside. That there just doesn't look like strong momentum, does it? Do you know, not 100% on that one. I mean, nothing's 100% anyway, but I'm not even 90% on this one, I think, Royston. Just because of those daily candlesticks, I really don't like it when you see really shallow candlesticks on a daily chart, daily range. I just don't think that makes for good momentum. Yeah, so like Right Guy says here, I'd prefer a short on pound CAD that looks like a short pullback on pound CAD. Do you know what? I'd be really interested to see how the market reacts to the retail sales tomorrow. If we see the retail sales come in a lot lower than expected, then the pound may trade through this 166 area and may try and head back towards the lows there. So, you know, despite that sort of strength in pound that I've been seeing, it's not as clear as like pound Kiwi, right? You know, obviously Kiwi was really strong at one point. Now it's switched and pounds, you know, so that's a lot cleaner, which is sort of why I try and focus on anything above the high there and anything below the low, because it just gives you that much, you know, a bit more of a cleaner sort of move. And this is obviously based on the weekly sort of, you know, well, it's based on the daily chart, but this is updated on a weekly basis. So it's the weekly change, essentially, that I'm monitoring there. So to see that happen and that happen from pound, then, you know, makes a little bit of more sense to go pound Kiwi. If I saw CAD was +5, so it was actually +5 3 weeks ago. So 3 weeks ago, it was saying that you should be looking to potentially, you know, what's that? Pound CAD sort of long last week, or even the week prior. Let's go on the weekly chart. 3 weeks ago, we're looking 3. Say, I mean, that was I wouldn't have minded that, you know, that bullish momentum there, because at the time, that's what you're seeing from the market. Okay, if we just kind of roll it to all the way to the end. So that means, you know, I would look at that and go, yeah, I like the idea of getting long on a pullback on this market, because then we've got potential to move to the highs. It's not 100%, obviously. Price then does that. So you're a bit, you know, okay, we've got a bearish inside candle on the weekly close. And then this week, we haven't really followed through with the momentum. So... yeah, just showing a little bit of... I still feel like there's a little bit of underlying strength in the CAD. So I am not certain on that one than I am on sort of Kiwi, you know, weakness at the moment. Let's check out... yeah, because if we look at Kiwi against CAD, it's down as well. Right. So if CAD was really weak, I wouldn't really necessarily expect that. Let's flick over to gold. Gold actually still continuing to do pretty well. I was looking for a retest back at 1880. Did not get that at all. Had another little kind of couple of pullbacks. We've now breached 1945. 1982 is the next level. And then 2050 is the level after that. So this could be the sort of targets for gold. If we look at it from a sort of monthly chart, let's just zoom out a little bit. I mean, gold doesn't really come back too often. So, you know, is this, look at that monthly candlestick so far. Is this the start of a move up to 2050 and maybe even sort of beyond 2050? I think if we finish like this, I'm going to be looking for some moves to the upside, definitely. I wouldn't mind a couple of weeks of pullback, you know, if we had like a couple of weeks down here, weekly bullish candlestick again, I'd be, you know, happily starting to try and see if price will target all these highs. But I haven't managed to get into anything here either at the moment. I suppose that would have been a nice candle to try and get in on. You know, I'd like to try and either look at volume levels for a pullback or like highs and lows. If I was trying to look at this low, for instance, if this one didn't pull back, I still would have missed the move because we didn't even come near to that low, to be fair, before price did take off. The other thing we could look at was a counter trend line. So that did breach there, but yeah, I don't think I would have looked at that on gold, to be honest. I like the idea of price coming back down to this point. I just don't think it's going to come back now. Got some high volumes around 1924s. You have to wait and see on gold, I think. I don't think this is going to be necessary now. I will move that up here, see if we get a little bit more of a sort of closer pullback. To be honest, I don't see 1880 happening right now. So we'll see, wait and see to see what happens there. Other markets. So let's have a quick look at the 10-year because we're getting ever so closer to that 5% mark. I'm actually going to put an alert at 5% because I think that we will get a bit of a reaction there. And if we do see price hit 5%, I think we'll see a bit of a pullback. So watching this one quite closely. We might even get a move up to 5.1 before it starts to move back. Those are the 2007 highs. So, you know, and this is what's kind of, I think, fueling that underlying dollar strength at the moment as well. So usually when we see US 10-year bond yields rise, we see the dollar rise, and, you know, we're still technically making new highs here. So there's potential for dollar to still move a little bit. we'll see how the Federal Chair Powell speech goes a little bit later. What are your thoughts on WTI, John? Good question, Royston. I was very much, one of those traders that were looking at sort of those key swing highs. So I think we pointed out 92s before, or this zone here. Down here was a little bit easier to sort of predict. We were looking for longs on a pullback. That was due to like production cuts and whatnot. We came back down into the 83 level, rebounded. Could we reach 92 again? Potentially. Maybe even up to sort of the next highs. $97 maybe. I just need to be honest, I haven't looked at the fundamentals for a few days. Like I said, there was some fundamentals yesterday that I haven't really dove into just yet. Let me just get rid of some of these here. If I'm going to talk it from a technical point of view, we had a consolidation. We came to the consolidation high. We breached it. We've come back down, retested the area. We're starting to find buyers again. Would I like another retest at 83? Absolutely. I think if price came back into the 83 level, that would be nice to see. Try and target back in the swing highs. Like I said, if we breach 92.40 at 97.25, so the sort of next area to look out for. Difficult market at the moment, to be honest, with all the sort of situation going on in Israel as well. That could be sort of a sticking point too. So, like I said, I haven't really put too much into the fundamentals of oil this week. So, I've been focusing a little bit more US market in general. So, I'll have to come back to you on that one. Really, Royston, probably next week. I'll have a little look at the fundamentals over the weekend, see if we get anything from those. Jacob, trading is not easy. No, it's not, Jacob. It's very, very difficult. Very difficult. Saying that, the trading part's easy. The psychological part is the toughest. Being able to hold a trade, being able to maximize profits, not let your winners run, don't let your losers run. That's the most difficult part. Actually, trading is the easy part. I'd say a lot of people actually could do really well trading in terms of finding entries and things like that. A lot of people are very good at that because there's a lot of technical analysis stuff out there in the sort of Forex space, which is actually good stuff. Like, you probably would gain knowledge, especially if you're good with your charts. It's tough, like I said, from a psychological point of view, and I think also you need to kind of add a little bit more of an edge to it. So, I like to use the strength meter. That really helps me out to just focus and narrow in on specific sort of currencies, especially if I'm swing trading. If I'm sort of trading the Euro futures, then obviously I look more into some, the volume analysis and things like that, and whatnot. So, Euro futures today, I don't know how it's looking today, to be honest, because I've been working on some other stuff. It looks quite bullish today. The Euro futures, it looks like we're taking off a little bit to the upside there, breaching all these highs. So we may be seeing a little bit of a run towards this high through here. Let's bring on the Delta. Yeah, looking like a very bullish day today. But yeah, I haven't been focused in on the session today. So not really looked at that one. Been looking at more swing trading stuff at the moment. So yeah, like I say, Kiwi Swiss are still still short that market in particular. Okay then, guys. Right, sorry, Jacob, I missed that. This week has been tough with all the news. Yeah, definitely. I think fundamentals play a big part in the markets. I think it's a very underrated thing to get into. So I do think that, you know, you have to look at what's probably your weakest part of your trade and then try and develop that. You know, if the news is your weakest part, then go and study a bit of the news. It's actually not too difficult to get your head around either. There's like 5 or 6 main sort of topics to keep your head around, and then you can just keep updating. Yeah, right guy with a good piece of advice here. The psychology part is the toughest. I have to find 4 to 5 reasons to trade, then and look at the reasons why I took the trade so I don't pull out. Yeah, very good. I think the thing is as well is always to watch the conditions around your trade. If you see the conditions, let's say you're in profit and you see the conditions trade in front of your eyes, you know, don't ignore it because you're hoping to get profit out of it, right? Your reason to trade is obviously to make money, but also you want to be in it for the long run. So ultimately your job is to not lose money. So really speaking, if it starts to turn on you, there's absolutely no sort of problem with just taking some profits off the table. Same when you enter a position, right? Let's say you've just entered a position. So this was like me on pound Aussie, right? So I tried to get short pound Aussie this week against my strength meter. So, but basically, you see this little area down here. So I had a daily bearish close. Let's get the fixed range tool out. See this consolidation there? See that pin candle there, right? I started to look at if I could get short in and around that pin candle to then try and drive prices down to these daily swing lows, right? So if I go down into the 5-minute time frame, let me just take this off in here because this is going to get confusing if these are on. Okay, so that's that level down through there. First of all, price absolutely overshoots the level. That's absolutely fine. What I'm looking for is how do conditions change at that point. So what I like to look for is, you know, like the double top pattern, or I like to see price try and break into a new low. So you can see here price rallied up, and you can see it's like a mini head and shoulders pattern, right? So I started to execute a position in there. My stop loss was above this swing high. Price started to push down initially, and then it double bottomed and it consolidated and it broke. So instead of letting my full stop hit, right, I basically just cut my trade there, right? Now, it could have turned and gone again, but that's okay, because if it did, then the bias is back in play and I can get back into the move, right? At least to come out with like, I think it was like 0.3, sort of 5% loss, right? Which is nothing really, okay? Obviously, it was a good idea because then price took off to the upside. I was just trying to see if, you know, that move would play out down there. Okay. So everyone makes the sort of mistakes. It's how you handle the mistakes. Well, I say mistakes. It wasn't a mistake because I thought there was a good potential for price to sort of follow this daily breakout there. So we had a breakout of this structure. I was just looking to target this zone in here. Now, if I actually drew it as a zone, I would have also noticed that we actually tapped into the zone. So, you know, very much just tapped into that little zone there, and price started to push to the upside. So, you know, got taken out of that one. Well, took myself out of that one for a very small loss. If I'd left it, I would have had a full loss. Okay. And that's what it's all about. I have a long position on pound Aussie from 1.9095. Partial taken and trading stops. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Let's have a little look at that. So I hope you don't mind me doing this, Vincent. 1.90957. Okay. Okay, yeah, so you've actually got in right down at that low. Awesome. I mean, that to me, if you got anywhere near 10R, I hope you took some off the table then. I'd just be trailing your stop now, right? Stop loss should be underneath that 4-hour candle. Okay, lock in those profits. That's 5R at least. That's if you risked obviously 1%. I don't know where your stop loss was, by the way, as well. You know, if it was below that low, then maybe 1.7. Maybe it wasn't 5R, but still 3.3R is awesome. Okay. So yeah, nice one. Right. I'm going to leave it there, guys. We've been going for about 40 minutes or so, so I'm going to leave it there. Hope you enjoyed all the content this week. Hope you found it useful, and I hope you learned a lot. Remember, strength meter on the week ahead analysis videos. That's, you know, it can be a big help if you're looking for those currencies where you can try and isolate the currencies and try and find some information from that. So yeah, that's on the week ahead analysis video. I hope you enjoyed all the content this week. And yeah, if you could either subscribe or like, I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, I will catch you next week. Hope you have a great weekend. Thank you to everyone that joined me and commented today. So thanks, Justin, Royston, Guy, Vincent, Jacob. Thank you all for commenting on the stream today. And yeah, I will catch you next week. Cheers, guys.